as well as
The value
reschedules.
cameras.
Yeah, well, they were going to go up for a much longer period of time, but someone had to be late in calling me.
I'm sorry. It's all my fault.
Either way, we're well into the game and or the draft as Razor Brewmaster get banned out by the Dream Destroyers. And we're going to see Doom and Viper see some hate by Flipside Tactics, so I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, so both teams right now, they've got a ton of push. Lycan is given away here, but it is just to a Radiant team, so it's not quite as dangerous. The early split pusher, also a bit more aggression on the lanes, just because you do have Hal to help out, your tri-lane versus tri-lane, so that's always a factor. But Death Prophet, Skywrath Mage right now, the silence, they will be good, but those silences don't really affect Lycan as a hero, and there's no lockdown between those, so they could have trouble bringing down Lycan, and we see a Faceless Void picked up now here by Flipside, so 2 picks for each team. Both teams honestly looking pretty scary, but I would rather be Flipside right now. They have that Lycan that you don't see a lot of because it is, a highly sought to ban.
Yeah, Lycanthrope, that is one of those guys that you see get taken out so often in the early points of the pick ban phase because he just snowballs incredibly well. And he's also really good with the real death ball lineups that you'd normally see get drafted nowadays. And with a Faceless Void, the Lycan can create a lot of room for this Faceless Void to get a little bit of farm and go around the map and just become scary. And then when the Faceless Void does come out level 6 plus with a couple of items, he's going to be incredibly difficult to deal with. Now, they do have the Death Prophet, the Skywrath Mage, which if they can keep Faceless Void or Lycan in one place at one time for a good amount of time, then they can go ahead and burst them down fairly quickly. However, the problem is you've got Lycan moving pretty much max movement speed all the time in engagements, and Faceless Void, if he drops his Chronosphere, is moving at 1,000 move speed. So keeping him in one place
at 900.
Yeah, keeping him in one place for a long period of time is going to be very difficult. And then you got to deal with them doing incredible amounts of physical damage to you.
Reserve time.
Yeah, and the popular supports, those popular disables, and also Doom, who just by default takes someone out of the fight. Not that that really does much to the Lycan, or Void if he's already chronoed, but Doom's out. And those popular disables, as I was talking about, that also pair so great with Skywrath that lets you get the burst out, the stun into the Mystic Flare, Earthshaker, Shadow Shaman are both taken out right now. And, well, you see 2 of maybe the slightly less common heroes that sync up with the Faceless Void. I guess Ancient Apparition is up there maybe as number 1, but you think Witch Doctor and even Lich a little bit with the Chronosphere, and also Skywrath probably the top 3. But Ancient Apparition, Disruptor, the Static Storm, and also the Ice Blast are devastating. Going up against the Faceless Void Chronosphere, just the threat of that alone, they take it out completely in the second phase. So we will see those other supports creep in, like the Witch Doctor, like... I just want to see Witch Doctor, honestly, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, Witch Doctor will definitely get picked up. I don't think I've seen a game where they lose the ability to draft up the Earthshaker and Shadow Shaman where Witch Doctor doesn't end up getting picked. And there aren't a lot of heroes in the current meta that fit the same sustain role that Witch Doctor does. Now, they still have Dazzle to choose from, which kind of has the same idea, except without the hard lockdown that
Again,
Witch
no
Doctor
lockdown, though, yeah.
Yeah, and on the side of Flipside, Dazzle is not too poor to draft up for them. I mean, they don't exactly need lockdown. They are not falling short of it with the Chronosphere as well as the bash chances from Faceless Void. Whereas Dream Destroyers, they are looking for lockdown. They're going to go ahead and grab the Wraith King. So I wouldn't be surprised if they pick up the Witch Doctor on top of that, just because they go fairly well together. They have incredible amounts of lockdown and slow. But with a Skywrath Mage already picked up, that means that one of those 3 heroes is going to have to play a core role, which we usually don't see nowadays. I mean, Skywrath Mage maybe once or twice, but I don't think I've ever seen Wraith King or Witch Doctor get played in a core role pretty much in the past couple of weeks to months. So that would be something that I wouldn't expect them to pull out. But flip side, they do still have the Witch Doctor, they do still have the Dazzle, and both heroes go incredibly well with this lineup. Also, Lich is still available if they want to go for that one with the Lich Chronosphere combo, which we see every now and again come up into the draft. So I don't know. That either direction they could go.
Yeah, so the Wraith King is really good support to have going up against the Void. Like you said, he's generally going to be played as a support, but even as a support, his stun is pretty deadly. He has that random crit chance, and he can even do a lot of damage, and especially, he's able to farm up, go off the map for a while. Maybe if his team doesn't really need him, he just farms and he becomes a threat. But basically, Void has to kill him twice, and you can only have the Chrono to do it once, so it's a good way to sort of sustain through the Chrono. I thought another hero they might want to go for is Vengeful Spirit, again for the Great Lockdown, swapping out your allies into the Chrono, and then once Faceless Void kills the Venge, he's applying that negative vengeance aura to himself, and
Oh
of
yeah.
course anyone in a 900 radius to himself. So you see Venge picked up a lot against the Void, and it's a it's a good pick maybe for even both teams. Just the extra auras for the push, along with Lycan, Faceless Void, and then of course if it was on the other side with the Death Prophet, it would go pretty well. Wraith King, again, his heal, his sustain is also really going to help that push.
Yep, and
There's the
Dazzle,
Dazzle you talked
yep,
about.
it will come out on the
Dyer's
side, and
pick.
Dazzle Lycan is pretty much one of those combinations
Radiant's
that
pick.
I have to say before Lycan and Ember Spirit kind of fell off the map from the 100% ban rate that both of those guys got, but Dazzle Lycan came up very often, and it's an incredibly strong combo. The minus armor with a huge amount of physical damage that Lycan can do is great, so I'm not surprised they go with that one. I would have expected the Witch Doctor as well, but we'll see if they want to go that direction.
Could do both.
Well, yeah, I mean, why not do both? They could use two
The Troll
supports.
Brothers.
10
Brothers.
seconds to
Dazzle
go.
and Witch Doctor actually do go fairly well together. They're kind of unorthodox in terms
5
of their
seconds.
skill
Purple.
sets, but they work well together. Now, Dream Destroyers, they have the Batrider pickup, which
Reserve
means
time.
they do have a way to keep Lycan or Faceless Void in one place after an initiation to drop down all of their spells on.
Dyer's
And
ban.
that could be an issue if they have to give up one of those two heroes. Both of them are pretty much heavy cores now, so losing one of those in a team fight could be devastating for them. Now, Jakiro will get picked up on Flipside, which kind of works in the same way an Earthshaker works. It's a very good
think that's
long-range
scary.
counter
10 seconds to
initiation,
go.
and it can keep Batrider locked in place for a decent amount of time after he blinks in and drops down the lasso. So,
Yeah, in terms of his ice path, he kind of functions, just disrupting.
Reserve
Obviously, that
time.
doesn't disrupt nearly as much, but Jakiro, Dazzle, and Lycan, they're going to take, ideally, they're going to take so many towers by the time Batrider
Radiant's
can even
banned.
have a Blink Dagger up in this game to help defend and get that early pick off that they might just get really far ahead on that side of Flipside if everything goes
Yep.
accordingly. Liquid Fire plus the Dazzle heal and the Lycan Wolves, that tier
Oh, yeah.
1 could die at like a minute or two in.
yeah, I think you
10
would suddenly
seconds to
hear with
go.
that pickup all of the tier 1 towers, even tier 2s on the side of Dream Destroyers
5
all
seconds.
cry out in horror. I mean, Lycanthrope is known for his ability to, well, if you leave the lane, your tower is going to go down. Dazzle
Dyer's
on top
pick.
of that makes it incredibly potent, but yeah, the Jakiro, we don't see him get picked. Well, actually, we see him more and more recently, but he kind of forces you to do one or two things. If he drops it on your tower, you will have to give up your tower. But if he drops it on you, that's a huge amount of damage over time that can force you out of lane, which then lets him drop it on your tower. So, I mean, it's really a
About time.
lose-lose situation when you go up against
10
this
seconds
lineup.
to go.
You almost have to really run an aggressive lane against
Yeah,
these
Jakiro
guys.
forces you to
5
fight
seconds.
or
Yep.
lose your towers, basically.
Yeah.
Which they will have to do. I mean, Dream Destroyers is a pretty good fighting lineup with the Wraith King
Reserve
Skywrath.
time.
And we'll see the last person they're going to put into that tri lane, and which means, Wraith King right now doesn't have to be a support. He could be a core,
Ooh.
but he'll be a support. They're going to pick up the Morphling.
Radiant's pick.
That
is a
seems like
really
a
interesting pick.
risky pick to
It's-
me, because Morphling does not get online until a bit later, and you might
Well-
not have a bit later in this game.
In a good game, I always have to bring this up because I love this hero for this reason. In a good game, a Morphling has two peaks. One at 10 minutes and one at 30 to 40 to whatever hard late game carry
ever.
peaks. Yeah. I mean, he gets so
10
strong with his
seconds to go.
waveform. In the early game, it's a huge amount of burst damage, and his auto attack with
5
early
seconds.
morph can end up outdoing most other enemies, and he'll be able to burst you down really quickly.
There's
Troll,
Shallow Grave,
that's
though.
Interesting. Yeah, there's Shallow Grave, which kind of hurts that a little bit, but then he falls off in the mid game and comes back as a hard late game carry. So, and the idea of Dream Destroyer's lineup, that kind of fits really well with what they're going for. They're going for some early game push, which will help Morphling, and then they're going to let Batrider carry them a little bit through the mid game while the Morphling kind of falls back a little bit, and then come right back online with the Wraith King getting farmed, with the Skywrath getting farmed, with the Batrider, Shiva's Blink, Force Staff, stuff like that. But I don't think...
But where, though? Like,
Yeah.
you're having no towers. Did that Troll Warlord
Yeah.
pick up, which is something that Flipside and, well, specifically Shredder loves, but it looks like Shredder will handle the Lycan, so Shibi's going to be taking the Troll, and, well, if Shibi's taking the Troll, that means it's going mid, so this is a fallback to a couple metas ago.
Yeah.
But he's going to be early level 6, which is why they want to put him mid, or at least solo, and that extra attack speed, Liquid Fire. Tier 2 tower down at, I say 6 minutes. This Tier 2 tower falls if there's not an aggressive tri-lane from Dream Destroyers.
All right, so let's give these guys the justice they deserve. Two teams at the North American scene that really the Dota 2 scene really loves to watch. I'll let you take away the first introductions.
All right, I guess I'll go with the Dream Destroyers here. So the first time I've got to cast them, and I've got some friends over there. Bloody Nine will be playing the Skywrath Mage right here. We've got B-Kid going to be supporting up on the Wraith King, so that's your support combo. In the middle lane, it will be Fanny playing the Death Prophet. Justin, a late E-Hug player here in the mid lane. Looks like he switched his role up a little bit. He will be taking that Morphling. Which I guess is a mid hero, but he'll be going into the safe lane. And then that off lane, WWD on the Bat Rider. Gonna need to get his levels early on because he might have to retreat to the jungle because I don't think these towers are gonna be staying up very long.
Yeah, this is kind of playing right into Flipside's hands. Speaking of, we've got for Flipside Tactics NA, it's gonna be Nusham on the Jakiro Shredder. Meanwhile, shredding towers on the Lycan. Shibby, as you mentioned, in the mid lane on the Troll Warlord, with Jenkins playing the off lane Faceless Void, and back towards the Secret Shop, it's going to be Sunken on the Dazzle. And going back,
yeah,
I think,
looks like...
What?
Well, it looks like they're going to be running 2-1-2 with just the purple guys here in the off lane. Which, I mean, it's hard to kill Faceless Void anyways just because of Time Walk. And again, there's not too much disable. The silence will help, but it's actually a double damage Skywrath that might be looking to get the party started here in the middle lane.
Yeah, he's going to go right up behind Shibby here. He's going to throw out the first Arcane Bolt, but without any concussive shots, I honestly think that he's not going to have any killing power on this one. And yeah, Shibby's going to get back. It's a nuisance at best, but he's going to have a couple of extra tangles to get himself back up, and he should be able to get his bottle up fairly soon, despite that, while the Crypt Swarm starts coming online. And yeah, Bloody Nine is just going to make his way back up to the top lane. I don't think killing up this dual lane is going to be very easy unless they can get a great initiation on Sunken.
Yeah, unless Sunken really overextends or gets out of position.
Speaking
which,
of,
I mean, maybe here they are. There's the wraparound coming. Bloody Nine on the Skywrath Major now. Does just have the Arcane Bolt, though. No silence right now. Stun out onto Sunken. Sunken, though, did not get Shallow Grave first, and this will be an early first blood. Trying to get a Rebel kill. Justin very, very low. Now B-Kid running away. Jenkins actually going to jump into this. He might even kill all of them right now. If he can get a bash off right here.
Nope.
The Strength Morph comes out. Justin holds it to the last second, and yeah, the waveform damage is it's 100. It's not too much, but it's enough here in these early stages of the game.
Yep.
So 2 kills to Dream Destroyers.
Yeah, that was a really good fight coming out from them. I mean, they go after Sunken, which is exactly what we were talking about. They actually are going to get a little bit of extra damage on him again. Not going to be able to kill him, but they go after him and clean him up fast. Didn't have the Shallow Grave, so wasn't able to sustain himself. And Jenkins thought he could get an extra kill there and got a little bit over aggressive, which, I mean, getting 1 kill there was already great. The fact that he tried to dive in for 2 was incredibly greedy, and he really paid for it, but it's a great early initiation, a great early engagement for DD, the Dream Destroyers here, and the early game. 2 minutes, they've already got 2 kills. Taking a look back at their offlaner, though, WWD, I think he's breathing a sigh of relief now that he's not going to be up against the defensive tri-lane. But he's still going to have a little bit of trouble here once the Ice Path and Liquid Fire starts really stacking up. Nusham, though, is opting for a point into Breathe Fire and a point, or a Dual Breath and a point into Ice Path. So neglecting that early Liquid Fire for the time being is going to be his choice, and that's going to mean that not too much pressure is going to come out into WWD, at least not early on.
Yeah, even if they had the whole tri-lane down here, now that there's no mini-stun, I don't think they ever would have really killed the Bat Rider, and to be honest, I was never really worried about the Bat Rider. I was just worried about his towers if they were to put that tri-lane there, but they don't. I think they're just trying to maximize their experience and their levels right now, because as soon as Troll Warlord is 6, we'll probably see some grouping, either 3 or 4 people in a push in the bottom lane, and once you start grouping, you sacrifice your experience, so I think they wanted to get more early on, but I don't know if it's working out. Up top, they're not getting too much, and we already know that the kills went against them in that lane as Dream Destroyer got a first blood double kill.
Yeah, kill went against them, but still giving a kill to Faceless Void is not something that you want to do, at least not earlier on into the game. I mean, Faceless Void's one of those guys that we see, oh, hold on, actually, a concussive shot will go out into Sunken here. A waveform should be following up soon if they want to go for it. They do, and Sunken should end up dropping here. 2 more auto attacks from Justin will secure that kill. They had an Arcane Bolt just in case. Now Jenkins will take a Hellfire Blast, uses his stick up to get that last bit of sweet, sweet health to keep him in the clear here, but that still is showing the raw power of this lane here, and they have to play really far back now that they know that 1 concussive shot will be enough to really just destroy this lane.
Yeah, and you can see just the early damage that Morphling is able to put out. Same thing with Skywrath, and just the one stun from Wraith King is enough to kill anybody. And I gotta disagree with Sunken not getting Shallow Grave. I feel like if anything, I go into that lane, I get Shallow Grave first because I feel like if he had that, they wouldn't really have been able to run them down when they're playing defensive like that. But it looks like he is either going to, well, the wards aren't quite up. They'll restock in 8 seconds, but he's going to go help over in the mid lane.
Systemic WWD taking a lot of damage here. He's got the damage over time. One auto attack to come in from Nusham. Will clean that one up, and now he's out of the lane. That gives him the green light to start trying to push a little bit. 8 seconds is the time they have for that one.
Yeah, now we've got, I mean, this is the basically the new standard level 4 build, right? 1-1-2 on Jakiro. He just didn't go about getting Liquid Fire
up top.
first.
He's getting silenced between the waveform. Does so much damage, and he'll go down just alone to Justin here. With Sunken opting to stay out of this lane means that Faceless Void's going to be alone. Sunken, though, will go ahead and stack up a little bit to try to help out Shibby going on further into the game, but immediately that really doesn't yield anything other than an underleveled Dazzle. And him being in the top lane there with a Shallow Grave could have kept Jenkins alive, but we've already talked about the lack of Shallow Grave so far in this game.
Yeah, still not there, and actually Sunken is, level 3. Shibby, they're about to try to get Fanny here in the middle lane, but the reinforcements are coming behind. They're smoked up. Skywrath and Wraith King going to show up once more. Now Shibby going to try to run down south, but will be caught up here in the river. And he's trying to get close for a grave, but again, it's not there. Bloody 9 onto a killing spree now early here, as Skywrath mages usually are. You're either giving up a lot of deaths, or you're getting a lot of kills in the early game, kind of how that hero functions. And now he's looking to wrap around even further, maybe try to get Sunken. Or contest Lycan. They know he's not in lane.
Yeah, he's not in lane. They've got the Jakiro pushing down the tower, so there's no point for Lycanthrope to be in this lane until Batrider goes ahead and leaves. And if they found him, they probably could have gotten a kill on him. One concussive shot would have been enough, but now they're going to go back in onto Sunken. Finally has Shallow Grave, will get Hellfire blasted for the time being, gets it off on himself, and now B-Kid's in a lot of trouble. There's the power of your Shallow Grave. Maybe a little bit late in the game, but certainly helping out when it can help, and they get a nice little kill there for what could have been a bloody middle lane engagement.
Yeah, it's always going to be bloody when Bloody 9's involved. What are you going to do?
That was the pun. Thank you for pointing that one out.
I got to go for it eventually, right? We got to get him out of the way.
Yeah.
So I said 6 minutes. I thought these bottom towers would be down, but they really did not pressure them. Like, Batrider, I guess the Napalm and the Firefly is pretty good wave clear, but I feel like they could have just forced the issue. And you give Batrider a lot of experience when you do that, but he has, what, 1 death? He wasn't contested in the lane at all. He's already level 6. He has boots and 900 gold, so now if he just retreats to the jungle, he gets that, pretty much 10, 11 minute, which I guess is closer to the average timing now of that blink, since his jungling has slowed down a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I think Batrider's doing fine, and I think it's a mistake that Flipside has left these towers up, because Troll is already level 6, he's actually level 7, so Battle Trance is there, Liquid Fire is there, 3 points in it now. Actually, I want to check the experience graphs. Even with the 2-1-2 lane, which you generally do to come out ahead of experience, they're still trailing by about 1,000 right now.
Well, I mean, you can attribute that to where the kill score is right now. I mean,
losing.
5 to 3, they're down 2 kills. That's a lot of XP in the earlier points of the game, and I mean, when you're running a 2-2 lane, that is exactly what you're trying to do. You're trying to get XP while at the same time being defensive and not giving up kills, but they gave up kills, and that goes back to the decision of the point into Poison Touch instead of the Shallow Grave on the earlier points on the Dazzle. Was that exactly what he wanted in this game, and could it have been rectified by actually getting the Shallow Grave? We're only left here to speculate, but yeah, they definitely want to try to get some towers now that they have Battle Trance, but they're playing it really defensive, and they're going to go ahead after a nice stack here on the hard camp. That was exactly what Sunken was doing. With the Vladimir's offering, they should be able to clean this one up with no trouble at all. A huge amount of gold and XP going their way. And, Roshan might be on the plate for them if the Tier 1 towers are not exactly what they want to go for, but going for that without the Tier 1 towers actually going down could be a very, very risky decision, especially with a Batrider with Flying Vision, who's getting incredibly close to his Blink Dagger.
Yeah, at the same time, Shredder was finishing up that stack. WWD was finishing up basically the mirror stack of that on the dire side. There's a
Oh,
two-man
this
chrono out here.
yeah.
He finds the bat, and he does have tread, so attack speed on agility. Gets some extra bashes in there as well, but now a lasso comes out. WWD looking to be a survivor, but one more attack will do him in. Jenkins is the offlaner here. Needs to start running. Maybe going to try to force down the sky. Yeah, he's not getting out of there. Can't dodge the Crypt Swarm. Time Walk had about a second or two on cooldown. Comes up just when he dies, but now we see Flipside engage the push, and yeah, they go there into the middle lane, and that tower, it sees the enemy, and then it sees no longer as it falls.
That was probably the worst circle I think I've ever drawn here, but
Yeah, that looked like a heart.
that looked like more than just a heart. I don't know. Either way, they finally take some advantage here. With that, I don't know if that Void was a bait or if it was just taking advantage of a little bit of time, as they grabbed 2 tier 1 towers in a span of a minute after that Void goes down, and they still have all 3 of their tier 1s standing in pretty good health. So there is the advantage on towers that they're starting to take here into the game, and the top tier 1 could have a giant target on their head, but that starts to open up Roshan a little bit. If they can take the map control like that and continue to take it, then, I mean, they can snowball pretty heavily from this, as the Morphling will start to go down when he starts to pick up his defensive items like Lincoln Sphere and then go for damage.
Mid
So
tower's coming apart.
we'll see where this goes for them in the next coming minutes.
I don't think Flipside is too worried about taking the tier 2 bottom or middle. Those control the Roshan, like you noted, but right now, I think they want to go after the safe line towers because they're so important. If you lose those, it really makes it hard for your carry to farm. It makes it a little easier for Morphling to farm because Morphling is Morphling and he just has replicates and he can get out of there, but I will be the Dire that sees, you know, enemies up in the top lane looking to push. So they're going to go ahead and capitalize. They will like to take out this Roshan. They'll ult for it, and it's not that fast, but it will be uncontested in the end.
Oh, it's pretty fast. Judging by the time that they're trying to take it, this is Dire advantage at its finest right now. They'll lose a tier 1, but grabbing a Rosh here, that accomplishes multiple purposes. One, that allows your Morphling to farm a little bit safer, knowing that no matter what happens, he's probably going to get out alive. If he has to replicate all strength and dies still, he's going to come back with a ton of HP. And then it also accomplishes the fact that you remove the Roshan potential from the Flipside lineup, who probably has the better Roshan lineup anyway. So they will grab another tower, and this is when the death ball starts getting really scary. Gonna have to retreat off of this one. The defensive ice path will keep the retreat path pretty much clear, though Shredder gonna get stunned up a little bit. Will have the Mystic Flare, but can move speed himself out of it. Now comes right back in. Nope, he's gonna go ahead and disengage. We've got Justin playing really aggressive with his Aegis.
Nice
now a
ice
Chronosphere and a nice path to keep him back for a little bit. Jenkins looks like he's staying in close, but will eventually TP himself out of there. No Yule Scepter. It's a couple of 100 gold off before he can get that one up. So they get 2 towers and they get back. I'd say that was a fairly good amount of gold going the way of Flipside. But again, you can't discount the fact that they lost the Roche.
Yeah, I don't know if it's too big of a deal. Like, it's a decent amount of experience and gold over to the side of DD, but I was just talking about those safe lane towers. They lost them both. Mostly uncontested. They used a defensive Chronosphere. That's about the most that they lost there on the side of Flipside. And Flipside know that they can't really do Roche. Like, that's just unlikely that they're going to get the opportunity to do that while the Dream Destroyers are alive. And as we've already seen, they don't really want to fight the Dream Destroyers head on. They're just looking to take those towers, hit and run. It's going to get a little harder as those towers, the only 2 left, they're pretty close together, easily defendable here by the Dire. So I think they just waited out 6 minutes and then look to fight after that Aegis has expired. Or maybe even smoke up and try to pick a Morphling off or something.
Nusham dropping an aggressive ward here. This is hinting at the fact that they want to make an all-in push here at the tier 2 tower. They're okay trading a tier 1 for a tier 2, I imagine. But, I mean, they're going to try to defend this one with Jenkins, who will get lassoed up and silenced, so he's just going to go down pretty much no resistance. What that does do, though, is it means that they use a pretty good amount of ultimates to kill him off, which means they won't be able to successfully defend this tier 2 now. I think on the flip side, they're okay taking a tier 1 for a tier 2. Not the best trade they want to do, especially now that they're popping an Exorcism for this one. But certainly not the worst thing that they could do. They still have the Aegis under their belt. And they could actually end up trying to go for more, as Justin's waiting here in the top lane. He ends up wayfinding out. And this is a high ground push. Shibby, he's made his way up onto the high ground. They're putting out an ice path. Justin is now stuck in the ice path that he TPs himself in. And they go ahead and back off. An invisibility rune will cover the escape of Shibby while the rest leave at an earlier time. So they should be able to get away A-okay with this one. And yeah, they make a pretty good push onto the bottom tier 3 tower. It's at about half HP at the moment, a little more than that. And I mean, one more push up if the Dream Destroyers aren't prepared for it, they could easily lose a Rax here.
Yeah, that was about 2 or 3 seconds of exposure that tier 3 tower had to the enemy team, and it
Without
lost
Battle Trance and Howl, so...
Yeah. So that's going to be pretty devastating. And without a Faceless Void attacking it. I doubt they can get all 5 there because someone's got to make the space. It looks like... I remember the last time that we covered Flipside, or maybe the last couple of times, or a few times ago, rather. It was Shredder on the Lycan, or Jenkins on the Lycan, that basically just sat in the dire jungle the entire game, farmed it up, made sure that none of the cores of the other team were going to be getting that jungle farm, and then just kept pushing out the top lane. Meanwhile, his team even sort of ran around, died, didn't even make great trades, but just the presence of a Lycan always in that lane and out, pretty much just a Jakiro whittling away at your tier 2 tower, because it's pretty much the only hero that can really do it like this. And
Yeah,
should be
look at it melt.
There's a Blink Lasso, though. They need to be careful. And yeah, they're going to actually not find anybody Ice Path. And that shows you the nerf the Lasso range a little bit. The hero's still extremely good, but sometimes that range comes into account.
So all indirect damage, like just throwing out a couple of liquid fires and maybe 1 or 2 axes from Troll, they deal more than half damage to this tower. And no time at all from just indirect engagement. So... that's pretty scary if you're Dream Destroyers, knowing that your towers are that susceptible. And now they're pushing in mid, but they've got one guy pushing bottom and one guy pushing top on them. I mean, this is a very deadly position for them to be in here. They could win fights, but if they lose their objectives, it really is all for naught. So, I mean, at the moment, we've got Flipside running what is the Rat without the Rat himself. And...
well, the Rat, King Rat, is realistically Lycan. It's just generally referred to as Prophet.
Hold on, Jenkins could be in a little bit of trouble here. He engages onto Bloody Nine, but he gets silenced up and Mystic flared. That was a, well, that was the ultimate in melting Faceless Void.
That's why Skywrath is picked. He's really good.
Yeah,
bottom lane.
Vanny, he's going to get slowed down by the Whirling Axes, range form, but he'll be able to get away. Now, the thing I'm interested about Flipside's, Dream Destroyer's lineup is that, I mean, you take a look, and they have the ultimate and what's the $1 million Dream Coil without the puck. They can leave Jenkins without farm doing God knows what, and the moment that you've got DD trying to push, they all rotate and push an opposite lane. Then DD goes to TPN, and then here comes Jenkins with a Chronosphere because, well, he doesn't need items to drop a Chronosphere, and he cancels all your teleports. So I think that's one thing that Dream Destroyers have to be careful of is committing a 5-man push like that, because it could really turn against them if they let something like that happen. Now Jenkins going to pop a Chronosphere to get some revenge, and the damage is actually incredible coming out from him. The Battle Trance plus the Mask of Madness. And the double damage rune. He just cleans up too. And that
B-Kid's in some trouble.
Shredder chasing down B-Kid. Doesn't have enough mana for his reincarnate. He's just going to go down here. You lost 3, 2 with buyback. And this tier 2 mid should end up dropping. They could lose more though if they're not careful. And even if they are careful, I mean, they just don't have the manpower to get a defense now.
Yeah, it's pretty early on, so the respawn times aren't very long. Wouldn't expect the buybacks, and it looks like the tier 2 tower will be falling. And you've got a lot of cores on the side of Flipside. You've got Troll, you've got Void, and you've got the Lycan. That's going to be pretty hard to deal with. The only true core, I guess, are the Morphling and the Wraith King, but Wraith King currently just has Tread, so he's not going to be offering too much to the team besides his auras. Death Prophet can carry, but she's not like snowballing out of control or anything. She's 3rd in net worth right now. Behind the Morphling, and then Lycan out in front at 9.3k. The Troll, about 1,000 gold behind this Death Prophet here. So 7.3 for the Death Prophet, 6.5 for the Troll. And even though Jenkins has taken quite a few deaths, he just picked up a double kill there, which was really nice. So now he's 4 and 5, 5.5k net worth. So even after the rough start in the lane,
a little bit of trouble on the bottom lane. He's got a replicate out, and he's morphing strength. He's going to go ahead and waveform. Not even going to use his replicate for the time being.
Yeah, they need. He's got the Lincolns. He finished the Lincolns actually like 2 minutes ago, about 16.5 minutes on the Morphling. So he's pretty hard to bring down. Not that there's a lot of stunts, anyways. But top lane now, the Necro unit's going to continue to run at BK, just looking to drain out his mana so he can't reincarnate. It's already been effective a couple times. He needs the body block here with the Wolves and will be able to. Now the stun comes out, but Lycan himself actually can get that one big right click. Now BK is still no mana, will bring him down. Skywrath comes in, drops the ult, but it's dodged by Sunken. Still silenced though, can't get off the Shallow Grave. Justin trying to get some attacks in while WWD on the backlines jumps on the Jenkins. Can't turn to leap, and it's a 2-for-2 trade right now, but it has forced out a buyback because bottom lane, tier 3 tower, is now in deny range because of the push from just Jakiro and the Troll.
Yeah, that's actually going to go down. He sends the Necro Creeps up, and it will clean it up. Now it looks like we got Flipside going on the retreat now, as Dream Destroyers will clean up Newsham. We've got Fanny chasing up to what looks to be Shibby here. Does he have a Yule Scepter ready to go? He does, but not able to get that move speed to close the distance, which is surprising with max Witchcraft and a Yule Scepter. He's just going to go ahead and back off for the time being.
Troll's pretty fast too.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. 443 onto the Death Prophet. Shibby with 380, but both have phase boots. So, yeah, I mean, they lose a tier 3 bottom. And actually, they could lose more here. You've got the Wolves just attacking on the ranged barracks. This could end up going down.
Bottom rats got problems.
They're rotating in Bloody 9 here, but can they clean up these Wolves fast enough? The magic resistance, yeah, they can clean them up. Okay. But the ranged racks taking a huge amount of damage from the time from that. And, yeah, definitely not exactly something that you want to be seeing. The Wolves cleaning up your racks. So yeah,
it was it's because there were creeps in the middle lane there, so the backdoor protection was disabled. Yeah. But yeah, again, it won't regen. It's really low right now, and easily just Jakiro, just Necro units, even just creeps will easily get that. They don't have to pay too much attention to it. And well, flip side, again, really strong team. If they get off a decent Chronosphere, which we haven't really seen too many big ones besides that recent double kill, but they're going to be found out in the enemy jungle here. Sunken silenced up immediately. Shredder will be not in the Mystic Flare, so he will survive through that. And now WWD, the one who's going to be fall. There's a nice Shadow Weave that goes off on everybody. Batrider is dropped down there. They're going to continue to chase right now. Double damage on Shibby as well on this Troll. Battle Trance on the 20-second cooldown, but doesn't even matter. Dream Destroyers, they're all melting right now. There's even another buyback for us. This one is the Skywrath. And let's see if they can line anything up with that Skywrath. The slow goes out. Will land on just one. A Chronosphere here onto Fanny. Fanny going down very, very quickly. No buyback here. 60 seconds to respawn. This could be the end of the game, potentially. But Justin picking up some more kills on the backside of this team fight. Shibby, he will relocate about an inch into the Wolves and Necro units, which conveniently run out. But Shibby going to get forced out forward by a teammate, trying to bring him down. The strength morphing is strong, but so is the blind here from Shibby. No one can even hit him. And it looks like Morphling. Will he die to this Earned Charge? He's so close. I think they're going to get into range. No, still enough mana. And that hero is just impossible to kill right now. Now people starting to respawn. Batrider's back into the fray. And B-Kid has used that 5-minute ultimate. Is only level 9. Should be trying to continue to chase him down. WWD now. And well, now they will turn their efforts back to objectives. But it looks like Dream Destroyers may have held this, although very, very expensive. I don't know. I think this is Morphling coming back in. Everyone TPing from base to the racks right now to help defend. The Ice Path is there, but not quick enough. And B-Kid jumping in. Very dangerous range racks.
Didn't make it.
Yeah. They might lose more, though. Another Shadow Weave goes out. Here comes a Lasso, but not going to be able to take it very far. Still standing in the Weave. Tons of armor. Shallow Grave will go off. And if they kill the Bat here, which I think they will, lots of burn damage still from the Liquid. He gets off into the tree line. Now Justin on to Newsham, still going for him, but the heals, the sustain of this fight, Bat needs to be careful. Sunken with 2 attacks could probably kill him, and they might lose the supports here. And Shibby actually will take our focus back to the enemy fountain. Shibby will drop there. Not sure what he was doing over there. And Newsham with 4 stacks and Napalm goes down. But the Rogue Creep Troop just brings down the Batrider there in the jungle. So 16-15, Flipside leads in kills. They obviously lead in towers and now leading in their racks. Because Shredder also bottom lane. 2 range racks down, looking for more here. Necro units still focusing the melee barracks.
He's gonna go ahead and Rambo this.
Yeah, it doesn't even matter.
Oh,
wow,
one more
so
attack,
close.
one more attack. They don't get it. 40 damage. It's still alive, and now they ping out Roche, and I don't think Jenkins wants to make a go on this one. Sunken either. They know that they're down to 3 players. One comes back in 2 seconds, one with buyback, but yeah, I mean, if they push mid, backdoor goes down, they can easily clean up this melee racks, but I don't think that Dream Destroyers are going to let them do that, as Fanny's going to go ahead and spot out Jenkins here. Jenkins with a Chronosphere is trying to make something happen. He's keeping an eye out. Justin
trouble at
morphing agility here. Needs to be careful with that one. Jenkins going to go ahead and scout it out, but immediately gets silenced now with the Hellfire Blast. Gets the Shallow Grave off on him, but will get Yules up. Cannot drop the Chronosphere just yet. Will end up dropping it, but his damage is really stacking up. One more Arcane Bolt will be enough to clean him up, and he goes down. Meanwhile, Fanny's chasing on Nusham. Justin as well. Sunken, close by, but not close enough. Nusham will get lassoed up, pulled on back into the crossfire. Gets Force Staff out, though, and will survive for the time being. There is a replicate. Morphling, though, going to go ahead and move that one around. They think it's the real one, and it will be replicated. Justin comes in, but not going to make any go onto this one. Ops Gold Scepter on himself, and now Fanny. Ice pathed up. Nusham, they're going to go. We'll get the double breath out, dual breath, and clean him up. And Roshan, well, Flipside should have this one. One buyback, that will be the Wraith King. They have Morphling and Bat alive, but it looks like Lasso went down, and Roshan goes down just as fast.
Yeah, well, it looks like you were focusing on the fight there in the river. Meanwhile, it was the poor Skywrath that was being just chased around by Shibby. Shibby finally brings him down. Then you see him run down through this choke point, and where he cleans up the Death Prophet as well. And that secures the Rosh. Immediately wolves the Necro units. This melee rack's already about half HP. I think they gave it some more extra HP regen with Backdoor, but the creeps are about to be there. Oh, no, they're not. They're actually somewhat far away. Those are just all summonable units. But either way, everyone will be respawned. So Dream Destroyers has another high ground defense, but they're losing a lot from this. Forcing buybacks, a couple buybacks forced on their team, 2 ranged racks down. 10,000 gold advantage for Flipside right now. In terms of XP, Flipside only ahead about 2,000. It is growing in their favor, and Faceless Void now, he's picked up the Mjolnir, so he's looking pretty strong. We've had the Necro 3 out for a while. Force Staff on Nusham for positioning. Force Staff on Sunken for the same. The SNY BKB and an Aegis up on Shibby's Troll Warlord, so I'm pretty sure they're ready to do this 5v5 battle. And not a lot of lockdown on either team, so these team fights have been really drawn out and spread across the map.
Yeah, but we'll see what happens with the next one. Can they end up cleaning up the 2 melee racks, or are they just going to get repelled like they always have been? We'll see what they can do, but both melee racks are approaching full health. Bottom maybe not close enough, but we've got Shredder. He's going to be pushing in towards the bottom lane now. They want to try to make a go on him. They're going to have WWD blink in with the lasso, but the Mystic Flare comes out a little far behind. Doesn't even matter. They've got the Ethereal Blade and Adaptive Strike to clean him up. Now he's going to pop a glyph to keep the melee racks top alive. The rat is not real, as the shiny yellow buildings will end up pushing it back for a little bit of time. However, they lose Shredder, and now this opens up a little bit of opportunity for Dream Destroyers to try to make any more kills happen. If they push too hard, though, they'll lose another lane. As WWD going to get poison touched up. They're trying to rotate in more heroes, but they cannot seem to close the distance. Now Ethereal Blade Adaptive Strike on Sunken. You will Yules him up. They should be able to grab the kill. They've got Nusham in close by, too, so they're going to try to make a go onto him as well. In comes WWD looking for some slow. Will get it off with a little bit of an napalm stack onto him, and he just drops slowly by slowly. That didn't even make any sense. He just drops. And Morphling going to go ahead and grab that kill. Meanwhile, they all teleport top to try to repel the push coming out from Shibby, and it will be successful, so they maintain their high ground for the time being, though it did cost a glyph. I think they're quite happy with that. And they get a Tower of Power.
Radiant lost the top
I mean,
tower.
none of those, even waiting for everyone to come up, it was no longer than about a minute, maybe a minute, 10 seconds that Flipside had to wait, and that means Glyph has about 4 minutes left before it cools down on the side of Dream Destroyers. They lose the tier 1 for it, but again, that tier 1 here on the Radiant side is the least important tower pretty much on the map. It is the least important tower on the map. Shredder goes up to defend to push out this top lane. Bottom lane now still marching into the base, so B-Kid picking up some farm there. Middle lane also pushing in favor of Flipside, as you would expect, so they just got to maintain this top lane and then see where they can go from there. They still have the Aegis to use. Another double damage. I feel like he just permanently has double damage on this Troll Warlord. He's picked up quite a few this game, which means, again, good warding and good rune control, and obviously map control goes without having taken the towers down right now. So still trying to find that final push. I mean, Dream Destroyers has a decent team. They've got a Morphling that can start blowing people up, and it's possible that they could come back from this. Looking at the graphs, it dips down a little bit. 8k advantage for Flipside, and actually Dream Destroyers leading by 1,000 experience. But it's still a long road back, and the split push is definitely very, very real.
Yeah, it comes to a point where they're approaching critical mass, that's Dream Destroyers that is, and they could end up grabbing fights pretty easily, but the problem is they're not going to be fighting. They're going to be pushing back some split push, and now that's kind of what Flipside have going for them. I mean, they grab the early game advantage. You can see it in the graphs how they climbed up a pretty hefty amount in gold. XP, though, not so much, but they can just push down towers. They don't have any trouble with taking fights with 1 or 2 versus 5, maybe dropping a Chronosphere to keep things inactive for a short amount of time, and then pushing another lane. Because two barracks, having 2 lanes of racks down would be trouble. Now they're going to go on Psych and clean them up without a shallow grave. That means it's down for the time being. Buyback is available, but I don't know if they want to spend it on him just yet, as the top racks are going down to creeps. They've got siege creep as well as 2 full waves in on this one, and they're not afraid to let that happen, as Bloody Nine going to get cleaned up by Jenkins. Maybe not, though. The Ethereal Blade will fly out, reducing his ability to do any damage. They're going to clean him up. Shibby up activating his double damage rune, but it's going to be Shredder trying to TP out, as Shibby trying to get this Rax. Can he do it? He's got the BKB. He's going to clean it up and pop his Aegis of Immortality, but he should end up dropping. As he tries to run away, the Hellfire Blast will go out. They clean him up, but the cost of a Rax, not too bad.
Yeah, they used a lot for that. A long BKB charge, the Aegis, and of course the death afterwards from Troll. There's no way Troll's getting out of that. So Troll's sitting 3-3 and 4. Only 100 CS here for 29 minutes. So, I mean, no one really playing a farming game on the side of Flipside. That's more up to the Morphling. So actually, I'm curious what his CS is. 199, so that's about right on target where you want to be at the 30 minutes. Just that 200 mark, sort of a rule of thumb. So he's doing just fine. They've also taken down some towers. All the tier 2s remain, though, for Flipside. So Dream Destroyers looking to take some of those off the map currently. Aegis was about to run out as well in about 10 seconds, so it is very good that the Troll just went ahead and used it. So that means a new Roche in the next 2 to 5 minutes will be coming online here. So Dream Destroyer is leading in kills. They are leading in experience, actually, by a pretty hefty amount. They're bringing the gold graph even now. It's a very even game if you just look at the graphs. About 5,000 in each way for either team. But Jenkins going to get jumped on once more. And we have not seen, well, Black Hole on cooldown there, but we have not seen a big Black Hole presence, mainly due to the Skywrath here with the silence. The inverse of the Black Hole, the Chronosphere, whatever. The purple hole.
One stops time, the other one makes it look like it stops. I don't really know. It's the same idea. Anyway, they're going to go in and make their first high ground attempt of the game, but this could be trouble for them as Shredder is making his way down the bottom lane. They're going to have to TP back, and I mean, this is a trouble. This is what they're going to have to run into. Hold on, there's only 1 TP back so far. They're chasing, but
rough day.
I mean, okay, finally they go ahead and 5-man TP. I think they were waiting for Shredder here. He pops his BKB. He's going to go ahead and suicide this Rax. No, he gets himself out of there. No time at all. Is there a Blink Lasso available? There is not. There is a Blink, but that's not going to be enough. No, the Blink on the Beat Kid will be enough. Shredder, though, still has plenty of time on his Wolf form, and it seems like he's not moving at max speed, but he is. No idea. Maybe it's the.
It's because he's not turning at his turn rate because of the napalm. So
I don't know. Either way, they try to make a push here on the bottom lane.
It's a weave in the pants.
Yeah. Either way, yeah, the bottom melee racks will still stand, but the important thing is the middle tower stands. So they have no way, or they know at least for the time being, that trying to make a 5-man push while either Shredder, Shibby, or Jenkins are alive is going to be incredibly difficult. Now, the high ground protection is down, and the Wolves will make their way towards the bottom melee racks. They're going to have to clean these up. With the increased magic resistance, it's going to be difficult for Bloody Nine to do so and on his own. And here comes the slow siege coming out. They're going to go ahead and silence up Nusham, as he was going to make his way up to try to get a liquid fire. Now there appears a Chronosphere goes down to Fanny. He will get Ethereal Bladed up, and Shallow Grave for the time being should still die, but they throw ahead the Yule Scepter on to Nusham. They're going to go ahead and lasso him up. The melee racks will end up dropping in the meantime. So 2 lanes of racks are completely gone. They will lose 2. There is a buyback. 3 will go down. Double buybacks. Fanny taking a lot of damage from these wolves. In fact, the burn as well, and it looks like Shredder going to go ahead with a BKB teleport off. Fanny, though, could be in a little bit of trouble. In comes the wolves. They're trying to deal some damage to him, but the actually, they're probably not going to kill him. It looks like their damage is not substantial at all, at least not in the grand scheme of Fanny's incredible HP pool, and he'll be able to heal that right back up once the exorcism comes off, and you'll see the spirits returning to him with all that sweet, sweet HP.
As the Fridge Master points out, RIP Melee Rax. It finally goes down after being about the most efficient player on the side of Dream Destroyers, regaining about all of its HP 2 or 3 times. Yeah. So well played, but who knows? 2 lanes of Rax. 2 lanes of Rax is hard to come back from. They don't
Yeah.
really. They have a somewhat of a global presence because the Morphlings replicate, so you can always make it back. And they have a pretty decent death ball themselves. Obviously, they can win the 5v5 engagements, which is why Flipside is avoiding them. Really, really avoiding them at all costs. Just throwing bodies to get the objectives. And 2 lanes of racks, 30 minutes. I feel like the statistics would say you have a very, very good choice of winning this game if you're Flipside. But
Yep,
if
and
I was them,
especially
I would
the-
be a little bit nervous right now.
Especially the location of the racks that have gone down. I mean, if you lose if you lose your racks, essentially, I guess in essence, it's worse to have them in the top or bottom lane, I'd imagine, because those lanes are harder to push out. They're less in your field of vision, and to be perfectly honest, like, if mid racks go down, then you're going to be in the mid lane anyway. That's where most of the action happens. I bet if you took a heat map of the Dota 2 map, you'll find that a lot of the action happens in the main bulk of the map here. So, I mean, pushing down one lane or the
less
other is
so
the
here.
easier lane to do so. Yeah, I mean, if Flipside win a marginal fight, it's not hard to push down because this is pretty much the shortest distance that you have to push down in the entire map. So, I mean, it's going to be difficult for them looking at this game to lose both their top and bottom racks and then make a comeback off of it, especially if the middle lane is the one that they've been focusing the most often, and they still have to go through a tier 2 on both the lanes that they're missing their racks. So
Yeah, I was about to say, those tier 2s are going to be of utmost importance here for Flipside. Because if this does come to a base race, let's say they just build up Boots of Travel, send the Wolves over to the throne right now, that forces Dream Destroyer to either just take the tier 3 middle lane and go straight for the Radiance Ancient, or try to just take the mid racks back and defend at the same time and then still play at a disadvantage through that. Because they can't just rotate down to the bottom lane or up to the top lane and take down the racks because of the tier 2. So it's really important that those still stand. And I don't know, if Flipside might just be going base race right now. Still trying to farm up a little bit here.
I think they'd be entirely comfortable with a base race. I don't think that Dream Destroyers have what it takes to go ahead and mount a successful base race with the fact that Exorcism, it's great at pushing towers, but it's pales in comparison to the combo that Flipside have drafted themselves up. So I think Morphling is going to be a key component in this one. If he can stay alive and deal a ton of damage to these towers, he should be fine to try to take a base race here, and he should be also fine to try to eliminate the split pushing problem. However, he alone can't win this game. I mean, even with a Scotty Ethereal Blade, if he kills one guy, there's still 3 guys left pushing his towers. So, in essence, he's a one-man army going up against what seems to be one of the most difficult pushing lineups, Sans and Nitrous Prophet.
Pretty much. Shredder's still farming up, taking people's time, chasing around the wolves, chasing around the Necro units. It looks like Morphling just takes that damage, doesn't really care too much about it. Continues to farm. He's got another 2,800 gold here, so Morphling going to start looking to purchasing those items. Really already has one of them, the Scotty, that starts taking him to actually a right-clicking force as opposed to straight shotgun, so that he can go really, really late here. But we'll see how that works out for him, because it's really just going to come down to the buildings. Like that's all it is. Who can take the objective here
Dota.
faster?
It's not over till the big ancient falls, and that's a fact that all too often has many players just banging their heads on their desk, because when you're dealing with strategies like this, I mean, you see it time and time again where one mistake is enough to end the game, whereas the enemy can make maybe 1 or 2, and we count that in terms of throws, maybe 3 throws before they end up having to be in a little bit of trouble. I mean, I think Flipside are okay with losing a racks here, maybe even 2 if they can go ahead and make mount a successful offensive and grab mega creeps. I mean, they're not afraid with trading mega creeps, full-blown mega creeps for 1 or 2 lanes of racks, as long as they don't end up getting wiped off the back end and losing their ancient on top of that. So the split push is going to be real from Flipside, but the real issue comes down to when the time comes. Can Dream Destroyers actually take a base race if it comes down to that? And if they do, will it be effective enough to win them the game? As you see the bottom lane starting to push in, the top lane, Justin's doing his best to push that one out, but he can't make it push past this point in the river, or this point in the lane, and the rest of Dream Destroyers have made themselves clear that they want to make a push on this mid lane. They've accumulated here into the Radiant jungle, and we'll see what they can make happen. but it's very risky maneuver coming out from them.
Yep, Shredder's still pushing bottom, and quickly before we have our team fight here, just, oh no, there it is, team fight coming out. Jenkins is going to jump in, good chrono, they get the Bat Rider, so he's not going to be able to find those pickoffs that have really plagued Flipside, and we can see going high ground's a whole different animal, how much harder it is for Dream Destroyers to take these fights when the Chronosphere actually gets out here. Now Shredder will TP in with the BKB, Lasso coming out though. It was a buyback from the Bat with Boots of Travel, so Shredder will get out of there. Chased up to the high ground here by the Morphling. Now Justin will turn his sights to the Dazzle, brings him down. The pains of being a Dazzle is you're always focused first. So, not having the best time there. And the tower goes down. This could be a lane of racks. The Exorcism is still there. Not enough damage to bring down Fanny, and they will lose the middle racks. Meanwhile, there is no split push just from the creeps. So, looks like Dream Destroyers is bringing this back. And looking at the graphs, you can just see how this game has turned around completely. Looking at, let's say, the 24-minute mark.
They're going to make it go on to Justin, though. I mean, he's the one doing the work in this game. He will TP himself out of there. There's no way to stun him up. They have no vision on him. And now it looks like Flipside are going to try to return the favor here as they're making it all in here down the middle lane. They've got both of their other lanes pushing in, so they're going to have to deal with that one. But they've grouped up as 5. They do not want to let this one go unpunished. Unfortunately, Dream Destroyers has everyone back alive. Reincarnate's ready to go. Taking a look at the buybacks, it looks like the only one without buyback on the side of Dream Destroyers is the Bat Rider. So Justin's got buyback. He's the one doing the majority of the work in the game. And, well, the Wraith King's got buyback if he needs to pop Reincarnate and still dies. The Skyrath has buyback if he needs to misses his Mystic Flare or something. I don't know. It's looking really difficult right now for Flipside to actually
Flipside can suicide to get Megas and then have buybacks and defend. And then once you have Megas, there's pretty much no coming back, or you extremely force out the base race, which then you probably win because you have Megas. So,
again,
we'll just have to watch.
So that's no longer an option on the side of Justin as he pops that regen rune-like effect with the Aegis going down. Backdoor is down. So this could be a case of just spamming up units onto this tier 1, tier 3 tower and hoping it dies. They're going to throw a poison touch. Now Jenkins going to get lassoed up, has Chronosphere, but will get silenced immediately. Now they do get a shallow grave up. If he can pop that Chrono, it's going to be huge. He does end up getting it. Now it looks like WWD will drop. The lifesteal is real. They're going to throw out an Ice Path, but Death Prophet does end up going down. She's going to have to buy herself back. Didn't end up popping her Exorcism, so she should be fine with that buyback. But now they're chasing on Shredder. Meanwhile, Shibby is making it go on the tier 1 tower. The damage is real as the damage over time. The Wolves are there. This tier 3 should end up dropping. And it looks like on the back of having to force a buyback out of your Troll Warlord. No! The tier 3's got 20 HP. The Wolf, though, one attack, and it's not enough. It is enough! He does get it. Justin, though, will end up cleaning up our Lycanthrope. Shredder goes down. He gets actually Jenkins, too, and Sunken. Justin doing absolute work. Now, they are missing out on a lot of creeps here in their lane, but the racks still stand. The suicide tactic didn't work. And it looks like Dream Destroyers are going to go ahead and force a couple of buybacks here as they make their way in towards the mid lane.
Yeah, buybacks available on everyone here except the Dazzle, so not too much of a worry. Well, it's a worry in the sense that they might still not be able to hold this. Yeah, so they could maybe lose this fight and then lose the game, but it's definitely still can defend. And yeah, they have to because the tier 2s are still standing in the side lane. So Void's going to force the buyback. He's got Chrono in 1 second.
Yep, we got the buybacks. The TPs are coming in, though. Boots of Travel in from WWD, but Jenkins goes in on to Fanny. He's popped his Exorcism, so if he goes down, it's a huge loss for them. But is it? They end up grabbing down Newsham. Jenkins can't even clean up Fanny. He will end up getting the kill there. Now, with Fanny alive, Jenkins down. That's no buyback on Jenkins. Shredder could also go down here, as well as Shibby. Shibby's got buyback. He will end up having to pop it. Shredder gets his way out of there, though. No wolf form or shapeshift left on him for the time being. Justin still alive, still kicking, and dealing incredible amounts of damage. This could be it. This could be GG. Shredder making his one last go. Pops his BKB. Shibby as well. They are looking to clean up Justin, but Justin will clean Shibby. Ethereal Adaptive Strike, and Shredder not long for this world as he goes down. No buybacks anywhere on the side of Flipside. Sunken, well, he is just doing what he can, but is it enough? The purple guy will end up pushing up daisies, and the GG, well played. Flipside, they clean up the rat, they cook him on their barbecue, and they eat him right up. That was a great amount of play coming out from them.